Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to my session on implementing e-invoices for businesses. All right? So, just an introduction of myself. Okay, my name is Jing. Okay, surname Kong. You can call me Jing. I'm a partner of firm of chartered accountants, and we provide professional services in audit, tax, accounting, advisory, and system. So I have dedicated 36 years of my life, my career, in areas of finance, audit, accounting, operation, HR, systems, and internal control. So it's a wide range of work that I have done throughout my 36 years of career. And throughout this, as you can see, systems and internal control, I have been involved in many system implementation and change management as well. Basically, the most challenging period for me was during GST time, where I have helped many companies, the larger companies, to implement or change the system to comply with the GST requirement. So now with the e-invoicing era that is required to be implemented under by LGN, our Lembaga Hasil Dalam Negeri, we are also busy with a lot of e-invoicing implementation, especially by those companies, the larger companies, who are more complicated in their processes and system. I have been helping them to also do the implementation, to change the system or upgrade the system to e-invoicing. Okay? So, now that you know something about me, I think it's time for me to also know something about you guys. Alright? So, if you don't mind to introduce yourself, first you tell me your name and the company that you're from, as an introduction to each other. Alright? So, can I start with you? This handsome gentleman here? Zhao Jie.
I'm from the Durian Lovers neighborhood.
Ah, durian lover. Wow. You like durian?
Yeah.
Okay, Georgia. Thank you very much. And then?
I'm Chelsea. I'm from Orange Advisor.
Chelsea from Orange Advisor. Hi. Okay, good. And you are?
I'm Amy. I'm from Elegance Germany.
Amy from Elegant.
I'm Hidayah from Cahaya Seraya.
Hidayah from Cahaya Seraya. Okay. And you are?
I'm Shasha from Park Road.
Sasha from?
Park Road Street, Seraya.
Park Road Street, Sendirian Berhad. Okay, I gather all of you are from finance or accounting department? Yes? Okay, so you are here to learn about e-invoicing?
Yes.
Because your boss say you must implement the system. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so before that, have you all attended any e-invoicing talk? No training at all. So to you, e-invoicing is something you heard about but don't know what is it all about. Right? Okay, no problem, because our training objective here is that bosses, well, your boss is not here, your directors are not here, but you are here, your management staff, right? Will be guided about Malaysia's e-invoicing, how it will impact your businesses, and how to implement e-invoicing into your companies. Okay? And at the end of this session, alright, you are expected to, okay, by the end of this training, you will be able to make the necessary changes to your own company's processes and system to comply with the requirements of e-invoicing as follows. Firstly, you will know how to identify and explain the benefits and challenges associated with e-invoicing, and then understand the specific impact responsibilities. Identify and have a plan to adapt current processes and systems to comply with e-invoicing requirements. And then fourthly, proactively address implementation challenges for a seamless transition for your organization. Okay? And lastly, understand how to prepare your accounting or ERP or middleware system for e-invoicing, because at the end you will realize that e-invoicing is about using your accounting system or ERP system or some form of middleware system to get your e-invoicing out from the system. Okay? Right. First module, okay, I will give you an introduction into e-invoicing, and I'll start off with the framework. Okay, the first part is the framework. Okay, so far? Alright, you all look very nervous, huh? Okay, don't worry. At the end of this session, you all will be friend already, buddy, huh? Okay, yeah? So let's zoom in straight, because we don't have much time, okay? It's only one day for you guys to learn all about e-invoicing. Do you know why Malaysia wants to implement e-invoice? Any idea? No? Yes, that's the whole idea, one of the idea, to go paperless, because e-invoice means you don't need to print out hard copies. You will save a lot of trees. One of the green initiative, but more importantly, e-invoicing is to make all the businesses to comply or to declare their income tax properly, right? So that they don't cheat on the income tax, right? So, firstly, e-invoice conceptually is a digital representation of a transaction between a supplier and a buyer, but this time it has to be validated by our Inland Revenue Board. Okay, so that means if you are selling something, okay, when you are selling the durian, you have to issue an invoice, right, to your customer. Now you just issue invoice and then you get paid. But under invoice, okay, next time you issue the invoice, you have to send to LHDM for validation. Once you get the validated e-invoice, then only you can give to your buyer, right? So that is the whole idea that every transactions in Malaysia will be reported to LHDM real time, on the spot. They will be reporting down to LHDM. So now there are so many terminology in the world. Well, some call it invoice, some call it tax invoice, some call it e-invoice. Actually, each and every one of them has a reason why it's named like that. Okay? Traditionally, when we do a sales, we call it invoice. But under GST era, we name it tax invoice. Okay? Now, under this paperless environment, digital environment, we call it e-invoice. So there's a, how do you distinguish? Firstly, invoice is commercial documents to track all the sales and ensure payments and provide accounting records. Okay, that is a normal invoice that all of you and I understand. Tax invoice, it comes about during the GST or the SST era. Why it says tax invoice is because in the invoice you can see the tax amount or what type of tax is being charged on your purchase, right? So the tax treatment that is applied to the supply, such as SST, sales and services tax. It can be sales tax or it can be services tax. And what is the rate for that tax, right? So today, currently, most of the sales tax are charged by manufacturer, and they are normally 10%. manufacturer charge to their customer. The customer are mainly maybe retailers or another manufacturer, right? And then the retailers sell to us, there is no sales tax. But when, let's say, you go into a restaurant for makan, some restaurant would have a service tax, right? Service tax currently in Malaysia is 8%. So in the invoice, it will say service tax 8% charge. And if we have goods and services tax, GST, it will also tell us that there's a GST of whatever percent. Some country, they call it value added tax. Like UK, they call it value added tax. It's the same as GST. Okay, in Singapore, they call it GST. So now e-invoice, what it means is, basically is electronic invoice. And it automatically reports transactions between the company and government to help prevent fraud, creates greater transparency, okay, and improves the accuracy and timeliness of SST, GST, or value-added tax reporting. You will be real-time. Next time with e-invoice is real-time because every time you sell, you issue a e-invoice. It's real-time. Real-time reporting gives government unprecedented access to a company's transaction data as it is happening. The aim, although it's not stated anywhere, is to automate SST, VAT, GST returns through real-time reporting or other means. So moving forward, once e-invoice is fully implemented in Malaysia, maybe towards the beginning of 2027, right, or 2026, you might find that the government, Malaysian government, will no longer require us to submit manual SST returns or manual Form C and all that. All will be digitalized. They can get the information straight from this e-invoice portal. That is the ultimate aim of the government. So basically, e-invoice has created a level playing field for all businesses, right? Where underground economy must surface. The impact is on delinquent businesses and tracking lifestyle of the rich. This measure ensures all income is reported, so taxes are duly paid. You see, now there are a lot of companies that are avoiding tax by some form of cheating, one of many forms of cheating. Either they don't issue invoice, so they don't declare the sales, or they put in fictitious invoices for their purchases, so they inflate the cost so that the profit is lower, or whatever. Or they pay underground money, they buy goods but without paying import duties and all that. They buy it through they did go through the custom, or they under-declare the custom duty and all that. So a lot of these are under-reporting of taxes, right? So if you can see, e-invoice in a global sense is already a lot of countries have implemented e-invoice. All these dark shaded countries already have implemented their e-invoice in one form or another. Of course, some of these countries, they have e-invoice, but they don't go through their income tax office. Like US, the IRP there do not require them to report. And some of the countries in Europe, they are doing it more on commercial needs. Some of the advanced countries, why they have e-invoice is because it makes the whole commercial transaction a lot more efficient. They can do away with a lot of stuff. Just imagine with e-invoice, I don't need a staff to prepare sales invoice, and I don't need a staff to key in purchase invoice. Later you will see how. So a lot of employment will change. The job scope for all of you might change also in the future. If you are doing a lot of data entries now, you will find that with e-invoice, you will not need to key in so many things anymore because all will be done digitally using AI, using some form of don't worry. Jobs are still plentiful for you. Okay? Don't worry that your boss is going to get a very chunky accounting system that don't need you to key in data. No, don't worry. Your job will still be there because your role will change. Your role will change. Huh? So as you can see, countries that have implemented e-invoice, the benefits to them is they can collect more income tax. Like South Korea, they managed to increase 10%, Singapore also managed to increase 25%, China between 10 to 15%, and from Malaysia, Malaysia estimated that 21% of our GDP currently are in the shadow economy. That means business transactions that are not reported, right? Shadow economy, and they are worth about 330 billion. That is a lot of money, right? That is a lot for Malaysia. So from here, Malaysian government expect to collect about 10 billion of tax just by implementing e-invoice, because the shadow economy in Malaysia will surface. Okay? Who are these in the shadow economy? One very good example would be people who are selling products through Lazada and Shopee. They might not be reporting their income because it's all electronic transactions. And all those influencers selling things from TikToks, Instagram, this is so-called, what do you call them? The influencer, there is a term for them. TikTokers, there's another term. I can't remember. Influencers. Okay, never mind. I think some of them are doing very well. Do you have any friends as a TikToker earning just doing nothing except doing selling products for people? No, okay. Stick to the more traditional career. Okay, more stable. Okay, so these people form some part of the shadow economy, and not to mention also all the pasar malam traders, and a lot of shopkeepers and all those kedai buncit. Some of them also don't really report fully their income, right? And of course, not forgetting all the drugs dealers and all that. So, who are the people that needs to issue e-invoice? So basically, it's almost everyone who are in business, plus those who are not in business. For example, trusts, cooperative societies. Okay. Property trust fund, property trust, rent office, regional office, trust bodies, association. Associations also includes the NGOs, okay, the charitable organization, and also the churches, the temples. You know, all these NGOs, association, and religion bodies, they collect money. Right? Some they have what do you call it? The tax exempt status, and they issue receipt for the tax exempt donation that they receive, so that the donor can get a tax exemption on that. So those association NGO will also need to issue e-invoice. Right? Persons exempted from issuing e-invoice and selling e-invoice. Before this latest guideline, they were more. Before this, our AGO, our SOCANs, they were exempted. But under the new revised guideline, they are not here anymore. So indirectly, our government is saying, okay, just because you are the AGO, doesn't mean that you are exempted, right? So therefore, the only person exempted from issuing e-invoice now is foreign diplomat office or the embassies, individual who is not conducting business, You and I, we are not in business, we are just earning salary, right? So we don't need to comply with the e-invoice. We don't need to issue e-invoice. If, let's say, do you like to cook? Do you like to, maybe sometimes Raya time you sell some biscuits? You do? Oh, okay. But you make just small money from there, right? But you are an individual, your main income is salary, right? So you also don't need to comply with e-invoice, right? So statutory body like LHDN itself, SSM, and all that, the local authority like DBKL, MBPJ, all these, when they collect quick rent assessment or filing fee, all these, and how about tax penalty, all that are the income, right? But they don't need to issue tax invoice, e-invoice, okay? So the police also, when they give us summon, they also don't need to issue e-invoice. And then transaction of goods sold and services performed before 1st July 2025. Okay? And then international organization for transactions of goods sold or services performed before 1st July 1995. Why 1st July is basically because 1st July is the date that every businesses in Malaysia needs to comply with the e-invoice. Now it's just the larger organization, the 100 million sales and above companies need to comply. And then 1st January will be the second stage. Second stage is those companies above 25 million turnover. And for the rest of the businesses is 1st July 2025. And then the last category is the taxpayer with annual turnover or revenue less than 150 million. These are the micro businesses, or maybe it's the nasi lemak store on the roadside there, the makcik, they below 150,000, she no need to issue e-invoice. Or the fruit store, maybe the coconut seller, by the roadside, the pasar malam traders, maybe some of them below, really below 150,000, they no need to issue e-invoice. Okay, so far so good? Any question? No? Later I will ask you. And clarification on taxpayer with, okay, there are a lot of confusion in the market now because this 150,000 was decided in October. So when the government announced that 150,000 revenue below, we don't need to issue invoice, a lot of confusion because how to define 150,000 and what do we do with these companies that don't issue invoice to us? How do we then support our purchase? Right? Because they don't give us e-invoice. So taxpayer with non-individual shareholders with annual turnover or revenue exceeding 150,000 per annum, they don't need to comply. So if the company is under this category, no, sorry, except for, if your company, you are Sendirian Berhad, and you have a non-individual shareholder, what does that mean? That means you have a holding company. Then you cannot, even though your turnover is below 150. Second one is, you are a subsidiary of a holding company with annual turnover exceeding 150,000, and then taxpayer has a related company or joint venture with annual turnover or revenue exceeding 150,000, also cannot get an exemption. Apart from these three requirements, individual partnership companies and cooperative, they can get that exemption from issuing e-invoice. Okay? And there are also these categories, 7 items here, of transactions that are exempt First one is, of course, the employment income, because you are paid salary, right? Salary is reported through the PCB, right? And then same goes for pension, alimony. Okay, these three, they are all reported through our employment, borang e-employment. Okay, and every year end you get an EA form, right? You get an EA form from the HR. So these are reported income already. There is no need for e-invoice. Same goes for dividends. When we pay dividends, we get a dividend voucher. Okay, it's also reported by the listed company and also companies that are not entitled to deduct tax under Section 108. That means Sendirian Berhad in Malaysia who pay dividends is paid net of tax already. There is no need to issue e-invoice when they do the dividend declaration. And then number 5 is zakat, and number 6 is buying or selling of securities or derivative through the stock exchange. That means you buy shares through Bursa Malaysia, okay, you don't need to have e-invoice. And when you dispose of shares of a company incorporated in or outside Malaysia and not listed on any stock exchange, except where the disposal is a company, LLP, trust body, or cooperative society. So this category of income, no need e-invoice to support. Right? So far so good, must remember, later I ask you question. So, for e-invoice, the format is digital. Okay? It's a .xml or a .json, JSON. It's digital form, just like your Excel file is what? Something .xmlx, right? XLXM, something like that, right? And your Word document is something .docx, right? Yeah. So that is the extension of the file name for this digital e-invoice. All right. And this kind of digital format is not representative of e-invoice. E-invoice must only be XML or JSON. Now we send a lot of soft copy e-invoice or soft copy of whatever in PDF format or in document or in JPEG, picture file, or printed version or email. So in future, e-invoice is none of this. Okay? It's only valid in this format. Right? But of course, we still need to send to customer the PDF version because XML and JSON format is not, doesn't make sense to our eyes. Okay? So this is a PDF version of an e-invoice. So what you can see is it looks quite the same as our existing invoices, except that it has additional information. What are the additional information? These are all the box out items that are additional. Okay, firstly, you have the supplier TIN number, which is your company. You're the supplier, right? So your TIN number, your tax identification number, and then your business registration number with SSN. And then your SST number, if your company is registered for sales or service tax. And then your MSIC code. This is the business code that represents your company's business activity. Where can you find this code? You can check the tax borang C, the income tax form, the company's income tax form, the borang C. You can get from the tax agent. You will see in the borang C there is an MSIC code. That is the code that is used to represent the business activity that your company does. But here the description, business activity description, will also be, it should be similar as your MSIC code. That means 47413 should represent the business activity for retail sales or telecommunication equipment. It should not be different. Okay, if it's different, then something is wrong already. No? Because what happened is sometimes companies change their business activity, but they didn't inform the auditor or the tax agent. So they just, suka-suka, they change to something else. But tax agents still think that is another business activity, still using the old MSIC code. So it's a good time for you to double confirm. Look at the MSIC code. Is it representing your business activity, your current business activity? If not, then you have to inform your tax agent to quickly change the MSIC code for you to the correct one. Okay? So that is one thing in terms of your MSIC code and your business activity. So very important, make sure you describe your business activity correctly, yeah? Because otherwise, because under e-invoice, you are going to report your sales real time, right? Real time to LHDN. Real time means you got no chance to pusing balik na. Okay? Right. Is it half an hour again? Okay. So, yeah, half an hour later we will have a break, okay? I mean, after half an hour, okay? So this e-invoice will also have additional information about your customer. What is it? That means this is buyer team. Now, existingly, your customer don't need to give you team number, their team number. But next time, you have to ask them for their team number. And then this buyer's name, your customer name, their IC number, because this is Su Ah Chong, right? She's an individual. So she should give you her IC number. If it's a Sendirian Berhad, they will give you their business registration number. If it's a sole proprietor or PLT or partnership, they also have a number registered with the ROC. That is the business number that they need to give you. Okay? Customer address, contact number, and the email. Right? So these are the information that you need to get from your customer in order to get an e-invoice validated. Then, this e-invoice type 01 is represent invoice, 02 is credit note, 03 is debit note. Okay? Generally, this one should be preset in your accounting system. Alright, your system panel should preset it for you. So you don't have to worry much about it. E-invoice version 1.0, the 1.0 or 2.0 or 2.1, 2.2 will also be preset by your system vendor. Every time LHDN has an enhancement of the system, their system, they will come up with a different version. Then your system vendor have to also do their part. They have to upgrade the system so that for you to be able to send the e-invoice for validation. Otherwise, LHDN changed system but you didn't change, then you cannot send invoices for validation, right? And the unique identifier number, this one will come back from the LHDN e-invoice portal. When you send for validation, once they're validated, they'll give you a unique identifier number. It will be printed on here. Original invoice number is the one that you have from the system, generated from the system. And invoice date and time is also from the system. But down here, date and time of validation, this is the one that come back from LHDN. This is their date and their time down here. Okay? So if you look at here and here, the date is the same, but the timing is slightly different. It's 12:36:13. This is 12:36:15. So that means your system prepared send out the invoice at 12:36:13. Okay, and it bounced back to you within 2 seconds. 2 seconds later, this is the LHDN time. Then there is this digital signature, which represents your company signature. So next time you no need to do that rubber stamp, chop, 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 durian lover, orange advisor, no need to chop, chop, chop. This is your chop. Okay? You save on the cost of doing the rubber stamp. Okay? And lastly, most importantly, is the QR code. This QR code comes from my invoice portal, LHDN e-Invoice portal. This QR code, when you scan on it, whoever scan on it, it will link you back to the LHDN my invoice portal, so that your customer will know that this is a real, genuine, validated invoice. Not welcome back. Okay, did you have a nice break? Yes. Yes, Come, let's have some energizing activity. Okay, can you all please stand up? Okay, who wants to lead this stretching exercise? Anybody? A volunteer? Chelsea? How?
Would you like me to
Do some stretching for us, please. Stretch up. Lean to the left. Lean to the right.
hold for about 5 seconds.
Hold 5 seconds.
And then to the front. Okay, that's all I have.
Oh, that's all? Oh, I think we need some aerobics. Come. Jump, 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 and swing, swing, swing. Shake, shake your hands. We need more than that. Energize. It's not very sleepy. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Oh, wake up already? Yeah. Okay. Now we will go to the next section. Just now we went through all this already. Okay, so we will start with module 2 now. Module 2, okay, before I go to module 2, you need to remember what you've learned, Okay? I ask you some questions, see whether you can answer. Okay, first question, who wants to answer? What is e-invoice? Anybody? Yes?
Electronic invoice.
Thank you very much. Second question. Name me two bodies, two persons who needs to issue e-invoice. Two types of person. What entity would that be? Who owns a business? I mean somebody, entrepreneur,
Yeah.
is it? A businessman?
Yeah.
Maybe doing business as a sole proprietor? More than 150,000. Yes, correct. Association, yes, correct.
Taxpayer.
Tax-
More than 150,000.
As in a taxpayer doing business. So a company lah. A sendirian perhaps. A berhad also, partnership also. Thank you very much. Okay, next is one more question. Who don't need to issue e-invoice? Yes. Anybody else?
Anyone who earns below 150,000?
Correct. Anybody else? you so much. You're very attentive, huh? Let's go on to module 2 now. Okay? How will e-invoice change your business? Right? This is, oh, what happened? Oh, okay, came back, good. So, this, we talk about, now that you already know what e-invoice is all about and what you need to do. So, think about how will it change your life, change your business. Okay? This module gives you guidance to analyze and identify areas in your organization which will be impacted by e-invoicing. Firstly, we want to analyze your business model, transactions and processes, and then identify areas which will be impacted by e-invoicing. Okay? Let's jump in. What is business model? Okay? Business model is how you do your business. Okay? For example, let's say you have your business is a restaurant. So your business model is, are you like McDonald's fast food chain where you have the kiosk, then your customer walk in and order, and then your kitchen will get the order and prepare the food, and then somebody at the counter will hand you the food. That is one model for a restaurant, right? That is a McDonald's model. The second model is, for a restaurant is, you are a fine dining restaurant. The customer walk in, then you have a waitress to walk them to their table and then sit down and then give them the menu. All very nice, serve them very well, take their order, and then bring the order to the restaurant. They prepare the food and then bring it out to you. Every time they bring out a new dish, they take away your dirty dish. Right? So that is another model. So this fine dining restaurant charge you maybe 60 ringgit for a fried chicken. McDonald's charge you 10 ringgit for a fried chicken. Betul kan? Or lesser. So that means the business model for the fine dining restaurant is different. Why people still want to order goreng ayam? To pay 60 ringgit. Yeah, because they want the smiling face of the waitress and they want to pay 50 ringgit for that service. Betul kan? Okay, so that is a business model. Right? So this is just one example. There are so many different businesses have different models. A manufacturing company may have a different model from a retailing company. Right? And a retailing company has a different model from a construction company. And construction company will also have a different model from a property developer company. Right? So, but what we want from here is that, what is the impact and the risk assessment with the e-invoicing on your business? First, when we look at risk, we look at the risk to perform. That means we look at the operation side. How do you manage your operation with the e-invoice coming in? Right? And second one is risk to performance is how you manage your capital. Maybe you will need to fork out a big chunk of money to buy the new system. Maybe if you have been one of those under-declared your sales kind of business, avoiding income tax or avoiding custom duty and all that, you will find that you may need to fork out more money to build your business to be a legitimate business. That means you legitimize your illegal business, perhaps. Will involve some capital outflow. Risk to growth, manage your market. Now that you have to pay import duty and SST like the rest of the other business, so your pricing has gone up, your cost has gone up. Does that mean you want to increase your selling price? So you have to manage your market and manage the change because you have the risk to adapt. One very simple story I have is, do you all know about this accounting system called UBS? You've heard of it, right? UBS was a major accounting system in Malaysia before GST comes in, a few years ago. Now, when GST starts to kick in, there are a lot of accounting software being developed to cater for GST, right? But UBS, being the market leader then, I guess they were a bit too big, too lethargic. They didn't think much about the need to upgrade the system, and so they were slow. And because they were slow, they were taken over by new systems like AutoCount and SQL. And today, I think most people, younger people, maybe like you, have not heard of UBS. You have? Oh, okay, not so young anymore. So that is risk to adapt. If you are slow in changing your operation, your business model, in an ever-changing market environment, you will find that you'll be out of business very soon because of all these new things that comes into the market, right? So e-invoice, don't look down on it. It has a very big impact on the operation of all businesses. What are some of the examples of the risks or the process that might be impacted by e-invoice? Firstly, using middleware may be an additional task for you guys, accounts department, because using a middleware to send e-invoice to LHDN is an extra step that you need to take. Right now, when you sell something, you just create an invoice, right? But if your system cannot send the invoice to LHDN digitally, to LHDN for verification, for validation, then you have to get a middleware, like a postman, right? To send for you. So this middleware, you may have to extract the data from your accounting system, post it to the middleware, and then the middleware send it to LHDN. So isn't it a double work, extra work? So if you are not careful in your implementation, in the design of your new process, you may end up having to use a middleware where you find you need to do extra. So that is one of the things that might impact by e-invoice. And then secondly, you will find that you need to reconcile the transactions in the My Invoice portal to your accounting system. Again, this is an additional task. Wow, you already kepala pusing with your bank reconciliation. Now you tell me I need to reconcile my e-invoices. I better change, I better quit now. I think I need to find new career. Okay, so therefore, you want to avoid this by thinking through the impact of the e-invoice on your operation so that you get a good system that can help you, not only help you to lessen, to reduce these two tasks, but in the process might also reduce your existing tasks. Okay, so that is some of the process that might be impacted. The third one is self-bill e-invoice is also an additional task. Okay, just now I explained that if you buy something from a supplier that cannot issue you e-invoice, for example, if you import something from overseas, your foreign supplier cannot give you e-invoice, right? So what do you need to do? You need to self-bill yourself. For your purchases, not for your sales, you need to self-bill. So when you self-bill to yourself, that is an additional task because your supplier from overseas give you one invoice, but that is your purchase invoice, you keep it to the accounts. On top of that, you now have to send this supplier invoice to LHDN to create a self-bill e-invoice. So one purchase, you now have 2 steps before you may have 1 step. Okay, so therefore that is one of the impact also. And number 4 is e-invoice for exports and imports are required to reference to the custom form K1 and K9. These are custom declaration form, and it can be troublesome and tedious and cause timing difference between the accounting system and the My Invoice portal. Why? Because K1, K9, normally they are handled by the logistic people, the transporter people. You know, all these lorry drivers, they go to Port Klang, they go and clear your goods with the custom. Most of the time, the lorry drivers, you know that they don't come back to you with the invoices and the custom form immediately. Right? They will go and deliver the goods. Not only to you, but they have other customers. They go 1 week round. You know, maybe 1 week later they come back to you because they have to travel from Port Klang to Penang, and then from Penang maybe go down JB and then only come back to you in KL. So this one round trip taking 1 week. So there's a lot of timing difference. And you need to keep chasing for the K1, K9 so that you can do your e-invoice and your self-bill e-invoice. Right? So that is also another impact. And number 5 is your inventory, your stock system. Some companies do not even have proper stock. They don't keep proper stock. With e-invoices, LHDN will be able to do industry-wide comparative analysis and identify potential tax evaders who are manipulating their profits via stock value. You see, I think it's very common. You heard about companies, you know, because the profit become too high at the end of the year, and the boss don't want to pay so much tax, so they say, okay, reduce the stock value. Because stock value very easy to reduce. Just reduce it, then the P&L will be lower, right? The profit will be lower. So profit lower, you just pay like lower tax. So a lot of companies use this trick by not having a proper stock record. So they suka year end, the boss say, no, the auditor done the audit, and then the auditor tell the boss, oh, your tax payable this month, this year, you know, based on this profit is 300,000. But your tax estimate, you only pay about 100,000. You got to pay additional 200,000 plus penalty 10% on the difference, right? So, what would the boss say? No, I'm not going to pay 200,000 plus penalty. You go and reduce my profit, I don't care how you do it. Then you crack your head and say, boss, maybe reduce the stock, I don't need to do so much adjustment. So companies has been using this trick for too long. So now, because e-invoice, LHDN knows how much you sell, right? Because every day you report the sales. LHDN also know how much you purchase, because every day your supplier gives you e-invoice, they also report to income tax. So they know your sales, they know your purchase. So they agak-agak will know how many items you have purchased, how many items you have sold, and the balance should be your closing stock. So they roughly know you have purchased, let's say, 100 items, and in the process you have created e-invoice for sales for 80 items. So balance 20 items should be your closing stock. But if let's say your audited account shows only 10 items, I only want to know what happened to the other 10. You got fired? Flood? Where's the report? Where's the proof? Somebody stolen your stock. No proof, right? It means you cheated, right? They know. So therefore, this could be one of the impact also. of supplier invoices into the ERP or accounting system with PEPO, because this will require process change. So later I will explain to you what is PEPO, but PEPO is a very beautiful automation system using AI. Why is it so beautiful? Firstly is, I sell you something, okay? The invoice that I created, of course I send for e-invoice verification, but through the PEPO service, okay, automatically I transmit to you via the PEPO, and you also have a PEPO, like you're my buyer, my customer. You also have a PEPO, so your PEPO will be posting into your accounting system your purchases from me. So you don't need the staff to do that. The system will auto post it for you, right, through the PEPO. So therefore, you don't need purchasing staff or account staff that key in the purchase invoices anymore. So this is a platform that is used in Europe. This is developed in Europe. Okay, PEPO stands for Pan-European procurement, something like that. Yeah. Okay. So that is the way that European companies do their commercial transactions. Very efficient, because in Europe, human cost very expensive. So they always think about cost cutting, how to make the whole process more efficient, faster, and everything just moves smoothly. Right? Even their payment is done through PEPO, because they know that okay, it's a valid purchase, and therefore we can process the payment automatically. Streamline your sales process by reducing duplication of work. Example, quotation issued from system can convert to sales, invoice, and delivery order. And also at the same time, inventory system is automatically updated. So, a lot of companies use accounting system, but they are not aware that they can use the accounting system to do quotation. A lot of our clients also not aware that there is this feature. So now, that means if they don't know, that means what are they doing? They're using a Word document, probably another person or the salesman, go and type in words, on the quotation, and then they give to the customer. And then when the customer agree to buy, then they go to the account staff, you key in sales invoice for me based on this quotation. So the account staff key in again that quotation. Salesman key in one time, prepare the quotation. Account staff key in again, the same thing, because quotation now become a sales, right? So if you use system, okay, if you use accounting system that has quotation for you, you can do the quotation in the accounting system, convert it to sales when the order is confirmed, right? And at the same time, also it updates the inventory automatically, right? So we will always want to look for automation. We want to use AI. We want to use automation. Why? It's because employment. How to say? Accounting staff are getting more and more scarce. Young people want to be TikToker. They don't want to do accounts. More and more difficult to find people to do accounts. And also, even if you can find, like you and I, all of you, you're highly paid. Consider highly paid, right? Compared to other careers, right? So therefore, using system automation is the way forward for any company who wants to grow. Some bad practices by some companies, even now, they give some incentive trips that allow family members to tag along. They give kickbacks on referral fees to their nominees, giving luxury items as gift to customer. What I'm talking about, this one is Okay, it's very common for big corporation when they want to sell something to another giant corporation. They need to tender, right? They need to submit their tender and they need to give their quotation to the person in charge of the tender. So there are a lot of hanky-panky there, as you know. How to win that tender? You first of all need to be friend to the person in charge. How to be friend to him? You tell him that, hey, you approve my quotation. If you approve, I give you a percentage. I send you for Switzerland holiday this year. Okay? Alright, Chelsea? Yes, agreed, Okay. Then Chelsea said, you give me holiday to Switzerland, can I bring my husband? I have 2 children also, yeah? Okay. So then how you capture that cost? Who is Chelsea in your company? She's not an employee here. So how to capture? So all these bad practices, actually these are anti-bribery. There is an act now that prevent all this from happening. But of course, businessmen being businessmen, they still want to continue this on bad practices. But mind you, there is an anti-bribery act that if caught, these are all illegal practices. Because it's considered as bribing. You can get caught, you can report to MCMC. Not MCMC, MACC. Malaysia Anti-Corruption, this body. Okay, they will come and catch you. But yeah, these are things that are happening in the commercial world, and I believe it will still continue to happen even with e-invoicing, but of course the occurrence will be reducing. Retailers occasionally needs to issue e-invoices. Cashier will be well trained. Cashier has to be well trained to handle this. Now this one is genuine business. Let's imagine now you walk into Aeon. Okay, your boss asks you to go Aeon, go and buy some groceries for the office, the pantry. Run out of coffee and tea, you go and buy. So you go into Aeon and buy, but you need to ask for e-invoice, right? Because you need to claim back. How to ask for e-invoice from Aeon? The cashier will be so busy. Got 2, 3 more, 5 more customers behind you. Then you got to give the cashier your details, right? Your company details. So cashier take your name card, key in, might take a few minutes to key in your thing, then wait for the validated e-invoice to happen. So this one, all this will slow down the cashier there, right? And then you have, at first you have 2 customers behind you, then by the time you finish keying in, there are 10 customers behind you, all staring at you. Why you so long? You only buy 1 tea and 1 coffee, why take so long? Why can't you go to the other queue there for the less than 10 item one? Oh, because that one cannot give you e-invoice. Right? So these are the problem, the implementation problem that retailers might face. If they don't think through the process, this is what's going to happen. When the cashier queue becomes too long, people lose patience, they don't want to go back there anymore. So next thing you know, Aeon will get lesser and lesser customers. All will go to village grocer because village grocer very efficient. They know how to tackle the e-invoice. Maybe something like that. Dealing with rejected validation from my invoice portal, arising from trigger errors such as wrong TIN numbers, blank fields. Okay. Currently, those big companies that are above 100 million that has already implemented e-invoice, the major problem they face on the rejected e-invoice submission is because of TIN number. The customer TIN number that is given to them, a lot of errors. Why like that? Because they don't know what is the correct number. For company, the TIN number should start with C, something like that, right? And of course, our dear LHDN also, pandai, and change the digit. They add a 0 or they minus the 0 from the T number. So people get confused also. So that is one of the reasons why there are a lot of rejections when companies send the e-invoice for validation, they get bounce back, error message. A lot of frustration, a lot of things needs to handle. And then those companies that don't comply with SST or they do not use a good accounting system, or they do not have proper stock record, they have consistently underreported their income, right? They use cash received from customer to pay to suppliers, especially the plantation, the aquaculture companies, the fisheries. The fishermen came back with one big load of fish. They sell to the fishmongers, then the fishmonger pay them in cash. Then they pay their workers the cash that they receive. So no supporting document. How much they receive for the fish, nobody knows except them. How much they pay to the workers, nobody knows except them also. So how much they want to report to LHDN, they like whatever they like. But under e-invoice, then they have a problem. So those that use cash received from customer to pay to supplier will have this problem. They need to change. So all the cash businesses, aquaculture, the agriculture sector, they have to rethink how they do their business. Those with utility bills registered in the landlord's or related company okay. So for example, this building is occupied by Adrian PLT. But this building doesn't belong to Adrian. It belongs to the landlord, okay, which is another company. And the TNB bills is registered in the landlord's company name. So, but Adrian will pay for the electricity bill, right? So under e-invoice, the bill will not come to Adrian. The e-invoice will come to the landlord. So therefore, also a little bit of things that needs to change. Adrian should go and register as the account with TNB, and the landlord have to deregister. So a lot of these things have to change. Those that do their accounts on monthly, quarterly, or yearly basis, they also have a problem. I need to report sales invoice on a daily basis, but right now I'm preparing my accounts. I ask my freelance account staff to come once a month or once a quarter, or I don't even ask them to come. I give, after the year end, I give them everything to do. Cannot do it this way anymore, right? Because why? My invoices need to be reported every day. Also, my account I should have a system that allows me to report, to do the invoice. That means I need an accounting system. I cannot use my freelancer accounting system anymore. Those that have related party transactions also will have a problem. Those that are located in areas, this one is a real problem also. A lot of places in Malaysia do not have proper internet line. So how? These companies, according to the LHDN guideline, they say, you need to come and have a talk with us. How to talk? Talk for what? They should go to TMNet and keep pestering them to set up the line there, right? The Unify line there, right? Why talk to LHDN officer? What can LHDN officer do for them? So that is the thing. Those with poor internet line will have difficulty to prepare the e-invoice. Those that need to issue several e-invoice for imports and purchases for individuals, also these are governments, basically. So, for you, you have a little exercise to do when you go back to your office. Okay, you need to do an impact assessment on your company's operation, right? By following these this is a guideline for you to assess the impact of e-invoice on your business. What do you look at? First thing, overview is you familiarize yourself firstly with the e-invoice, which is what you're doing now, today. You're familiarizing yourself with the e-invoice guidelines, and then identify all stakeholders involved in the e-invoice process. Meaning to say, these are basically your suppliers and your customers. How you deal with your suppliers currently and how you deal with your customer currently, and with e-invoice coming in, how do you need to modify your dealings with your supplier and your customers? Okay? And then understand the difference between consolidated invoice and standard invoice. Okay, I've already explained to you just now what it is. And then know whether to issue a standard invoice or a consolidated invoice for your business. Remember what is consolidated invoice? Sudah lupa. Okay, again I repeat when you sell to consumers, remember? You sell to consumers, individuals like you and I, we don't need e-invoice. When we walk into Aeon, we buy whatever groceries, they just give us a normal receipt. They are okay with me. In fact, we don't even want the receipt. Now they ask us, do you want receipt or not? I always say don't want. Because I will throw it to the tong sampah. So I don't need anything. So therefore, Aeon has a lot of customers which are like you and I. Only once in a blue moon, like you, because your boss asks you to go there to buy coffee and tea, you need e-invoice. So for the rest who the Aeon didn't issue e-invoice, they have to issue a consolidated invoice that combine all the sales for the month into just one invoice to submit to LHDN. That is what is meant by consolidated invoice. But of course, Aeon being Aeon, the business is so huge. They have so many outlets. Most likely they are doing a consolidated invoice on a daily basis. That means every outlet, at the end of the day, they do their closing, they send for one consolidated invoice for that day. They can do that. There is no limit as to when they need to send for consolidated invoice. As long as they send it within the 7 days from after the month end, within the 7 days. Okay? So anytime they can send, during the month they can send. So, remember, I will ask you again afterwards, consolidated invoice and standard invoice. Know whether to issue, this depends on various factors such as nature of the transaction, whether you are B2B or B2C, and the preference of your business partners and regulatory requirements. Understand the requirement and scenarios to issue self-bill invoice. The next module is you already know about the e-invoice requirement, and then you also are going to do a little homework after today. You go back, you run through with your other managers the impact assessment. Okay, very important, impact assessment. And this manual that I give you shall be your Bible, okay? Don't lose it, because all the information you need to know about e-invoicing is inside here. Okay? You need to explain to your other managers what they need to do. Okay? So, next thing, let's go through your processes in detail. So you will know how to explain to your other managers. Okay? Especially your sales manager, you need to explain to him how are you going to handle the sales, right? Your purchasing people, how they will handle the purchasing. Staff benefits and staff claims, you need to explain to all your staff what they need to do before you can pay them their claims. Basically, they need to give you e-invoice. give you e-invoice. If not, they need to give you a receipt also can, right? And then you need to learn how to reconcile to the LHDN portal. Okay? Sales transactions. Let's take a look. Before e-invoice, very simple. Now you are a supplier, you sell something, you issue the invoice, and then you issue it through your accounting system, and then after that you send either by email or you print out and send by post. I think nobody send by post anymore. Okay? And then the customer receives your invoice, they will post it into their system. This is what we do every day now, right? After that, with e-invoice, you must remember to submit to LHDN first, then only you give to your supplier, your customer, and now, with e-invoice, the customer can request you to cancel within 72 hours, okay? Or you can cancel the invoice within 72 hours if they spotted any errors. And there's errors, or they don't agree with your pricing, or they say that one of the item is spoiled, so you need to change the quantity. Okay, so you change, then you do the same process until they are satisfied, then they enter into the accounting system. So this process, your customer can take their own sweet time to check, and then come back to you maybe 1 month later, 2 months later, then they tell you something is wrong. But with e-invoice, because once it's sent for validation, it becomes a confirmed sales. Your customer or yourself have to check immediately. Because if you fail to check, then it went through as a sales. And of course, you still can issue credit note after this but not so good. A lot of work got to do with credit notes. Credit notes normally needs your manager's approval or need your boss approval. So therefore, with e-invoicing, everybody will be more disciplined, do things faster, check on things faster. Next thing you need to do is get some information from your customers. If your customers are businesses, for example, another Sendirian Berhad, also proprietor or partnership or LLP, then you need to get 7 information from them. Only 7 information. Company name, TIN number, registration number, SST registration number if any, business address, contact number, email. Of course, number 7 is optional, but 1 to 6 are compulsory. Okay? Actually, you already have some of it. What would you have? You would have company name, address, right? Some of you may also have key in their company registration number, or maybe not. But the very least, you need to get item number 2, 3, 4, and actually the email is quite important, even though they say optional, but it's highly recommended to have, because the e-invoice will be sent via email, because LHDN portal will not, even if they send, they will be also through email. So if they don't give you an email, then it's very difficult for them to receive e-invoice. So email should not be optional. It's optional for the LHDN, but it should not be optional for you. It should be compulsory. If it's an individual, then it will not have what will it not have? It will not have the SST registration number, right? And they can give you either the TIN or the IC number. If they give you IC number, they don't need to give you TIN. If they give you TIN, they don't need to give you IC, right? Same goes for foreigner. If they give you passport, they don't need to give you TIN number. Most likely they don't have TIN number. They just have a passport number. Okay? And then of course, other things is address, contact number, and email also should give to you. Next thing is, do you all sell to overseas? No, none of you, Oh, okay. Okay, good. Simple process. But if you do, okay, if you do sell goods or services to overseas, then actually it's quite same. Just that right now you issue invoice, next time you just basically send that invoice for validation so that you get an e-invoice. Not that your customer care, your foreign customer don't care about the e-invoice, but Malaysia LHDN care. They want you to get your export sales to be also validated via the e-invoice. Okay? So for you need to get some information from your customer, your foreign customer. Again, the same 7 items, but this time you will notice the foreign customer will not have TIN number. So you can ignore, but you use a general TIN number for foreign customer. This one they also don't have, so you can put an NA. SST definitely don't have, you can put an NA. If they are foreign individual, they also don't have TIN, so you also use a common TIN for foreign money. EI 0000090 here and 20 there. Okay? TIN number on NA, but address definitely should have, contact number should have, email should have. Okay? So these are the required information from your foreign customer. And if you sell overseas, of course, you most likely will be USD or maybe some other foreign currency. Then you need to have an exchange rate in the e-invoice data field, and the currency rate shall be, well, basically, it should be based on what your system exchange rate is. So I'm assuming that all of you, if you have a foreign currency, your exchange rate will be updated in your system at least once a month, if not at least once every 3 months, right? I think once a year is a bit too long, right? You may come across sometimes you collect deposits from your customer. Some deposits are refundable, some are not refundable. If you are a landlord renting out a property, you collect rental deposit. Rental deposit is what? Refundable? Yes, refundable. But let's say if you are selling an item, let's say you sell laptops to your customer, you don't trust that customer is because he's new to you, so you want to collect the deposit up front first before you go and deliver the laptop to him, right? So that is non-refundable, right? Because why? That deposit is to pay for the laptops. So that is a non-refundable deposit. Okay? So refundable and non-refundable deposits for e-invoice has 2 different treatments. Firstly, if it's refundable, you don't need to issue e-invoice. You just issue your normal receipt, and then when you refund to your customer, you just refund to him. Sometimes you want him to acknowledge the refund in the form of a refund note. But for LHDN, this is not their concern. They don't care. They don't need to know. But if it's not refundable, okay, the LHDN wants you to issue e-invoice. For income tax purposes, non-refundable deposits or advance payment are taxable in the year that you receive. Correct? Okay? That's why you need to issue e-invoice. That means, supposedly you receive the deposits. Let's say your year-end, financial year-end is 31st December this year. Today you receive a deposit, okay, for your sale of your laptop. But the laptop is you are only going to deliver to your customer in January next year. So in December, you need to issue the e-invoice already because these sales even though the sales has not concluded yet, but you receive advance deposit. Advance payment is taxable in which year? This year or next year? Yes, this year. Correct. So therefore, this year you need to issue e-invoice. Okay? Selling to business, B2B, or selling to government, B2G transactions. Firstly, your business process. Now, this is the part that, when you go through the impact assessment, you got to think about your process, which looks something like that. I assume that this is quite a similar process for all businesses. Okay. Firstly, companies, when they want to sell something, they issue quotation. Even if it's a service like for us, we have audit and tax. Even before we start the audit job, we also issue quotation, right? So therefore, we issue quotation. Sometimes some companies, they use Microsoft Word or email, like what I say, and then after that, you print it out, you email to customer, and then you get the customer to sign. And then some customer very peculiar, they need to issue their own sales order. So they give you a purchase order. You call it a sales order, right? So customer give you their purchase order. So you use their purchase order. You ask your account staff, right, to key into the system to create the sales invoice, right? Sales invoice, then what happened after that? Your shipping, maybe this is an export sales, your shipping people go and, because you key into the system, then they prepare the shipping documents and the DO, and then they get the stocks from the warehouse and then prepare for delivery, right? So after that, you issue invoice and then wait for the payment. So this is generally a very common sales process, correct? Is that how you do it in your office? Something like that, something similar. Okay, so now, what if this is your golden opportunity to upgrade your system, right? So why not you get a system that allows you to simplify your process, right? From 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps. If you get an upgraded system, you can simplify to 5 steps. Think about it. From 7 to 5, would you save time? You will save a lot of time, right? Because you can eliminate 2 steps. Where is the place that you can eliminate? Firstly is your quotation. You use a system that allows you to issue quotation. So when the customer confirms, okay, they want to buy from you based on the quotation, your system, you just go back there and convert this quotation into a sales invoice. Just click the button, quotation into sales invoice. Complete, done. No need to rekey the whole thing, right? So then your people will, based on what is in the system, start to prepare the documents and send. And then the payment will be processed by your customer. Right? So think about it, when you do your impact assessment, which is this part, earlier on the part, the impact assessment part, this part, when you review this process, start to think about how you want to change it, and if it's possible to even change the process to simplify some of the duplication of work, try to eliminate and try to simplify the process. Okay? Same goes for your purchases also. So, consolidated invoice I explained just now. I won't go through again. Then, these are the 7 industries that cannot issue consolidated e-invoice. If you look at it, what are they? These are mainly what? High value items, right? Sale of motor vehicle, flight tickets, luxury item, construction, payments to agents, dealers or distributors, license, betting and gaming, dealers or distributor of construction materials. Why they want to insist that these 7 industries must issue e-invoice for all their sales. That means even if you walk in now, let's say you walk in, you want to fly to Sabah, your hometown. Okay? Because it's flight right, you buy Asia, fly back to KK. You need to give your PIN number or IC number, phone number to AirAsia because AirAsia must give you e-invoice compulsory. You say, I'm individual, I don't need your e-invoice. But AirAsia insists because the law insists that they give. They're not going to US, UK, no. They're just going back to KK, your hometown. But still they insist. Same goes for sale of motor vehicle. You are not going to walk into Mercedes to buy a Mercedes Benz. You just walk into a Pearl Duo, you want to buy a Pearl Duo. But still, because Pearl Duo is a motor vehicle, right? Doesn't matter what the value, right? It can be a 10-year-old Pearl Duo. The second-hand car dealer still have to issue a e-invoice. Luxury item. This is one thing that the government has trouble defining. What is a luxury item? What should be the value of a luxury item? So, for example, let's say a tiny little gold earring maybe is less than 100 ringgit, compared to a whole diamond chain or a diamond earring which costs few thousand. So a diamond earring is luxury lah, but gold earring maybe not, right? But still, because it's gold, it's categorized as luxury. So maybe also have to issue e-invoice. Right? So this is one area that is still, until today, is not properly, the government has not properly defined all this. What should be luxury and what should not be luxury. Construction. Construction, if you engage a contractor maybe to do a little bit of repair in your house, because maybe the roof leaking already, every day raining monsoon need to repair, so you need contractor. Contractor is in the construction sector, right? He also needs to give you e-invoice. And then now all those houses affected by the flood needs to engage contractor, right? Repair their house all spoiled by the flood. Need e-invoice. Okay, so or maybe you want to DIY, you don't want to engage contractor because you think that small things I can repair lah. Then you go into a hardware shop, you buy some cement to repair the wall, and then you buy 1 ton of paint. You want to repaint it yourself. Construction material. You need to give your IC or TIN number. So this is some of the things that may not be practical, but then they want to insist on it, right? So methods to issue e-invoice to buyers, there are 4 methods if you are a retailer. First one is either you create an online platform where you allow your customers to go in there and issue e-invoice themselves. Request for e-invoice themselves. Or like Aeon just now, you don't hog the queue, you don't hog the cashier there. The cashier will tell you, look, you scan this QR code, then you go and key in your own TIN number, blah 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 yourself. The system will, the apps, the online portal will come up with the e-invoice for you. Okay? POS system, not a good way, okay, because you will hog out a long queue. And then mobile apps, yes, is very good. So online platform or mobile apps is the best for retailers. So if you have been retailing, think about investing a little bit on an online platform or a mobile apps. Okay, so this is just some way of just a visual illustration of how you can get e-invoice done to you. For example, this is petrol station. Petrol station also, I think now if you pump petrol, some of the petrol station, when they come out the receipt, there is a website for you to go in to request for e-invoice. Or a QR code you scan, it will link you to the website. Then you can request for e-invoice. This one is POS, this one is mobile apps. Okay, let's start module 4 now, okay? This is the last 30 minutes of our presentation. So let's see, should be the most exciting part for you, hopefully, okay? Right, let's, now you have learned all you need to know about e-invoicing. Try and remember, yeah? Okay, very important. Because after this, when you go back, you will have to start the e-invoicing implementation. So this module, I'll try and guide you through the 3 phases of implementation. Normally, when we start to implement something, we have to do the planning. This is the discovery stage. Okay? In discovery stage, we discover what we need to do, then we plan it out. And then after that, only we can go to the implementation stage. And finally, once we have implemented, we review and we see whether we can improve further. Okay? So I will also, in this module, I'll try and highlight to you what are the various options that you have in terms of accounting and ERP system. So to start off, in any implementation, you need to consider 3 things. First, your human resources, your team. Who are the people in your company that can do the implementation? And then you look at your business processes, and finally you think about the technology and the system that can help you with the e-invoicing. Okay? So as I explained just now, stage 1 is awareness and planning. Stage 2, implementation. Stage 3, review. Right? Stage 1, awareness. Form your team. You must have a team. If not, you do everything by yourself. I think before you start to plan, you already handle your resignation. Too much work to do. So have your team ready, and then brief them what they need to do, and then today you are already here, you can understand. You can understand the requirement, Alright, good. Perform your gap impact analysis. Assess your business model. I have explained to you this is module 2, right? And then review your system, review your strategic issues, propose an implementation plan. Do up a plan to propose to your boss what is needed to be done. So your action plan must have a timeline. By when? Okay? So when is the due date for you to implement? 1st July 2025. So you work backwards. How long you need to implement? Okay, then when should you start to implement? Right? So prepare action plan and timeline. Draft the announcement if you need to. You draft the announcement. Maybe you draft in the form of an email or memo, something like that. And then obtain quotation. This is where you need to start looking for system modification, system integration, and then if your existing system is a very old system, maybe it's time to completely change to a new system. Instead of upgrading it, maybe best to just change it. Or you may have to consider using a middleware. Compilation of information from your existing customer for their TIN number, SST number, and business registration number, or their email and their phone number. Okay? Number 6, classification codes for your stocks and your services. So this is an example. You can do this in a spreadsheet, Excel sheet, your actions. Okay, normally your action plan, what? Number 1, what you need to do. Number 2, what you need to do. Who is in charge is very important. You must pinpoint that person so that the person is made responsible to be in charge of the item, and the timeline by when you need to complete it. So these are examples you can follow, or you can choose not to follow. This one is to tell your customer. This one you inform what they need to give you, and what else they need to give you if they are different. You are sending it by ship to another place. Okay. This is for example announcement to supplier, foreign supplier, internal staff. Okay, and then you implement. You take action on the process change. You have system modification, communication, test result. Progress monitoring is very important. Draft your new SOP. Design your new form. And then with e-invoicing, the most important tool for your business is the system. System becomes the most important tool. It includes the hardware and the software. It forms the heart, the veins, and the brains of your business. Okay? You no longer need hard copy. Everything is digital, e-copy. So therefore, that system, the whole infrastructure for the IT system becomes the most important thing that a business can have. The whole office can burn down. It's still okay as long as the system, the data is safe. So if you invest in a good system and take good care of it, it will bring your business to wherever it wants to go. Always think about the system that can help you grow your business. Don't stinge on the fact that, wow, this system so expensive, blah blah blah, I just use 10% of it now. No, think about how you want your business to grow. Your system has to be able to help you grow your business. So system consideration is, will this system give you that competitive edge by optimizing your process, drive your revenue growth, reduce your costs, leverage on the technology to stay ahead in today's dynamic business landscape, explore innovative uses of e-invoicing beyond the compliance requirement, opening up new possibilities to your business, protect your data from hackers, ransomware, security breach, and data loss. Okay? For example, competitive edge. Today, if you walk in to a restaurant, this restaurant is very upmarket, in terms of usage of technology. You walk in there, they give you your QR on the table. The waiter say, you just scan the QR for the menu, and then you do your ordering there. Okay? And then after that, you just submit your order, and then before you know it, a few minutes later, the food comes to you. Right? This is a very efficient restaurant. No need to have a waitress waiting for you, stand there. What do you want to eat? Wait. Okay. Then he walk away. He walk away because waiting there too long. So and then by the time you decide your food, you try to call the waiter to come back. He's over there already. Tak layan you already because another customer. So this is a very inefficient restaurant, right? So maybe you also don't like to go back there because wait too long. Wait so long to make an order. Wait so long for your food to come. Everything have to wait so long. Before you know it, you only have 1 hour lunch. Wow, you went back to office 2 hours later, and not scolding from the boss. But if you walk to a restaurant who is using system, scan QR code, order, few minutes later, food come, you eat, you also pay with the handphone. Pay already, so sudah makan, go back. All all within less than 1 hour. You go back to office, you still have 10 minutes to take a quick nap, power nap. So this is the restaurant you might go to for your lunch, right? So this restaurant has a competitive edge, over another restaurant that do not use system. Right? So the restaurant is leveraging on the technology to stay ahead. To stay ahead. So that is kind of system that you want to think about for your business. So the benefits of an e-invoice is, first thing, definitely it will reduce your manual efforts and reduce the paper and filing space. You no longer need to print or keep any invoices, not even your supplier invoices. Everything will be digitalized. Your e-copy is the valid copy, not the printed copy. Okay? Facilitate efficient tax filing and digitalize your tax and financial reporting. So, how to set up your accounting or ERP system infrastructure moving forward? This is how your infrastructure should look like. Firstly, for example, this one, your factory is here, and this is your office, and maybe you have some people on the customer side there, and this can be the warehouse. But all of you, okay, are able to access the system, the ERP system or the accounting system via the cloud. Okay, so in the office, you access your system, you log in, and your system is in the cloud, and your accounting data is backed up. Okay, backup to another server, a backup server. Most likely you want a server that is sitting in a very secure place, which is, example here is a Cyberjaya. Okay, because Cyberjaya has very good data center for your backup purposes. Otherwise, the other option is you go and subscribe to Dropbox lah, Google Drive lah, OneDrive lah. Maybe your office use Microsoft 365. It comes with OneDrive. You can use that for your backup as well. So you can have a daily backup to this cloud service provider and a real-time backup to your server in Cyberjaya. Okay? Why you need to do this is because, like what I said, whatever you print out, tak laku lagi. IRB will not acknowledge that as a genuine document. They will only acknowledge the e-invoice in the system. So you got to make sure you really protect all your e-invoices sitting in your system. How long you need the data to be there? 7 years, yes, correct. The law says, the Companies Act says 7 years, IRB also says 7 years, Custom Excise also 7 years. So for all these requirements, you need to keep your data for minimum 7 years. Minimum, not maximum, minimum 7 years. So I would say you add another 2 more years, maybe 9 years. So you need to keep your data for 9 years, and you need to make sure you have backup, because nowadays there are a lot of hackers, ransomware, people that create havoc to you, or they send a virus to your system via email or whatever, and then they say, okay, I have attacked your data now. You need to pay me 50,000 USD. If not, I will destroy all your data. These are ransomware, they call for ransom. So if you don't pay them, they will definitely destroy your data. If you pay them, then you will give 50,000 USD. So this is the problem with all these hackers. That's why you need to have backup, not just one backup, but multiple backups. Ideally, you should have at least 2 backups. One is your working server, the other one is your backup server, and the second one is your cloud server. And of course, all these you need to have antivirus system breakdown, at least you have a backup in the form of another server inside Java. Your backup in Dropbox or OneDrive is not your system, it's just your data. But you still need a system to run, right? Your system cannot be backed up to all this drive because system is system, data is data. System needs a hard drive to run it. Just like your phone runs is a system. Your data in your phone is in the cloud. Whatever you back up is your data, but not your system. If you spoil your phone, you got to get a replacement, right? When you get a replacement phone, what do? You download back all your data from your iCloud or your Google Drive, right? Your G Drive. Most of us are like that. If you have iPhone, you download back from iCloud. If you have Samsung or Huawei or something else, you download from where? Google Drive. You every day sync your data to the drive, to the cloud. Right? So this is how you protect your data. So cloud is to protect your data, server is to protect your system. Okay? So that's why I suggest you must have these two. Okay? Now some of you will engage in outsourced accounting staff. Some of you give your files, your accounts to be done by a third party, a management accounting company, or a freelance accounting staff. So even then, you need to be aware how to ensure your accounting firm manage your data properly. Because under e-invoice, that is the most important thing. A management accounting firm that do not have this infrastructure will not know how to protect your data properly. So you please go and double check with your accountant, your outsourced accountant, what do they have? How do they prepare your accounts? Where do they keep your data? Right? So it's very important because that accountant's office should have a similar infrastructure where they keep their backup in the server at a reputable data center, and they should also have another backup in the cloud, whether they're Amazon or Dropbox or G Drive or iCloud, somewhere that is reputable. And of course the cloud will do the transactions with MHDN. Okay? So can skip this part. Finally, you have implemented. You have purchased a system that you want, you implemented it. Now is the last stage. You do a final review, a final trial run. You get your user to accept the new SOP, and then you finalize it, and you give training, and you see whether there is still any room for improvement. Okay? Now I have a little test for you. Alright? If you don't pass, you cannot go home, Okay? So, ready with your test? Okay? First question. How do you submit invoice for LHDN validation? A is through my invoice portal. B is through application programming interface. C is both A and B. D is through email to LHDN. Which one? Yeah, C is both. Okay, next question. Do buyers need to issue self-bill e-invoices to record expenses when dealing with suppliers located in rural areas with poor internet connectivity? Yes or no? Now, mind you, this is suppliers that need to issue one, but they are located in rural areas with poor internet connectivity. need to issue? You say yes. You say no. You say no. You say no. Okay. The answer is no. Why? It's because you remember the slides that say self-billed e-invoice is only allowed for certain transactions under the Section 8. That means only the 7 transactions you can issue self-billed e-invoice. Foreign supplier lah, gaming lah, dividend lah, all that. But this one, just because no internet doesn't mean you can issue self-billed. So somehow you have to decide now, you are the customer, whether you want to continue to buy from this rural supplier or you find another supplier to buy from that can give you e-invoice. Right? So, can I issue self-billed e-invoice if I buy from a supplier whose revenue is below 150,000? How about you? No. No. 3 against 1 now. Answer is no. Why no? Again, remember, self-billed invoice only applicable to foreign supplier, individual. So this one is supplier with revenue below 150,000. So what will happen is that that supplier has to declare to you that they are below 150,000. So you just put in the right now in his invoice and say, oh, this supplier confirmed that he is below 150,000. That's it. Get him to sign whatever. Okay, so he will not be able to give you e-invoice because he is below. Actually, he can give you e-invoice. He can choose. He can have the option to comply with e-invoice. You know? So that is the thing. They give this option to those micro businesses below 150. Okay, are businesses allowed to issue consolidated e-invoice for all types of transactions where buyers do not require e-invoice? Oops. Can you issue consolidated e-invoice for all types of transactions where buyers do not require e-invoice? Yes or no? Yes. Alright. All got it right this time. So, supplier is allowed to issue, okay, if there is no requirement from the customer for the e-invoice. What is the time frame to issue e-invoice adjustment? After the 72 hours, is there a timeline to issue debit or credit note? No, so D, yeah? Very smart, all of you. Can taxpayer issue one credit note e-invoice to adjust multiple original e-invoice? This one I haven't taught you just now. One credit note to adjust for multiple e-invoices. Yes, You say yes. You say yes. You say yes. You say yes also. Okay. Yes. Alright. Very smart. Prior to full implementation, there may be suppliers who do not issue e-invoice as they have not reached the mandatory implementation phase. In this situation, will IRBM accept normal invoices issued by this supplier? Can or not? Can accept or not? Can? Can. Good. Okay. Done. Can. That's it. All pass. Congratulations. Okay, so we have ended the e-invoice session. If there's anything you still not understand or want clarification, you can just give me a WhatsApp. Okay? To check with me. Okay? So, good luck with your implementation. And thank you so much for attending today's class.